Is there anyone, and I mean anyone, that you want in this Giants passing game in your Dynasty leagues? All that and more this episode of the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Marcus Mosher and Kate Madjuk.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. Joining me today, as always, is Kate Madjuk. You can check her out on Twitter at Kate Madjuk. You can also check her out at Pro Football Focus. Kate, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for some weekend football. We had an interesting Thursday night football matchup. I think that's to say the least. I'm ready to go. We've got a lot of injuries that we're gonna have to overcome, so that's why we're here to help everybody out, help you get back on track, and make sure that we're gonna absolutely crush it this season with your dynasty rosters. I'm most excited for promotion commotion, though, as usual, my favorite segment of the week.
Yes, we will get to that in this segment 3, talking about some players to promote from your bench into your starting lineups. But Kate, we've got to talk about the game last night. I want to start on the Giants side because yet again, it was a game where basically you got nothing out of anybody in this Giants passing offense. Daniel Jones, 22 of 32 for 137 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. The leading receiver was Darius Slayton, 3 for 32 on 6 targets. Gary Brightwell, 2 for 31. Paris Campbell, 6 for 24. We did see Wan'Dale Robinson come back. We can mention him, 4 for 21. If you started Jalen Hyatt, you got a goose egg there. Didn't even record a target. I had a couple prop bets on FanDuel about Isaiah Hodgins. He got 1 target, no catches. Is there anybody that you like in this offense long-term? Because the short term looks pretty bleak.
No. Like, I don't know what to do with this offense, genuinely speaking. Like, Marcus, even in terms of Saquon Barkley, who you really like as a player, like, he's injured. It's really difficult to imagine any type of usable efficiency in this offense. There's still not a standout player to this point, and I really thought it was going to be Darren Waller. So kind of interested to hear your opinions on Darren Waller. A player that I think both of us were extremely high on heading into this season. How do you rank him rest of season, knowing that this is the state of the Giants offense?
It's tough. I there's so many different things I want to say here. I'm not knocking him a ton because 2 of his first 3 matchups were the Cowboys and the 49ers. Like, you're just not going to get teams that have much better pass rushes and linebacker play than those 2 teams. But at the same time, it's not like the Giants still have to see the Cowboys later in the year. They still have to play the Eagles twice. And Washington's defense, I think, is going to be pretty good. So, and remember, the Giants also play the AFC East this year, which pretty good with defenses between the Jets and the Bills and the Patriots and the Dolphins, right? It's going to be tough sledding for Darren Waller, Kate, but I mean, you'd have to rank other tight ends ahead of him. And like, are you putting Pat Freiermuth ahead of him after what we've seen over the last 2 weeks? No. Are you putting Dalton Kincaid over him? No. Are you playing Kyle Pitts over him? I would say absolutely not. So as much as we're probably down on Darren Waller, and even though I'm not excited to start him, there's just no way that I can really put anybody else ahead of him right now.
What is kind of hilarious, though, is that, like, it's really by process of elimination that he's ranked as highly as he is. I mean, that's a great point, is like, okay, so you want to move Darren Waller down in your rankings. Where should you start? There's nobody that you can feel confident in. At least I think Darren Waller, you feel a little bit more confident maybe in his volume and maybe in the idea that he could bounce back. Maybe this offense does get into rhythm eventually. Now, to be fair, like, I think we saw some bigger holes in the 49ers defense than we expected, but this is still a very good defense that I think greatly outmatches the offense. You saw that with the Dallas Cowboys. That defense was greatly mismatched over the offense. Not every single week are they going to be like, these are 2 top 5 defenses. So I do think there's a world where this offense looks better. How much better? I don't know. But let's see what it looks like when they're not playing a top 5 defense before we totally jump off ship. But yeah, I'm
I
ready to
mean,
jump off ship.
they've got games coming up, which I expect Waller to be better. Like they play next Monday night. I know you get another primetime New York Giants game. I don't know what we did to deserve this, but we got it. Home against the Seahawks. He could have a big game there. But the problem, Kate, and you're going to see this all year long, is the schedule is just pretty unrelenting, right? It's at Miami, at Buffalo, home against the Commanders, home against the Jets. Does have a nice game against the Raiders before they play the Cowboys, Commanders, Patriots, Packers, Saints, Eagles, Rams, Eagles. So it's we said this on I think Monday's show. There's a couple players that you're going to have on your teams where you're just going to put them in your lineup and then just don't watch them. Right? Don't watch these because it's going to be really frustrating. You're going to see Daniel Jones miss him high and you maybe get frustrated by the usage. But I do think as the year goes on, he'll be more productive. I want to know, is there anybody else in this offense that's even worth a speculative add? Is it Jalen Hyatt, who we saw make a big play last week? Is it Isaiah Hodgins? Is there anybody that excites you at all?
Great question. I mean, I still like Jalen Hyatt, just long term, but like in terms of immediate production that you can project, I'm just kind of out on these Giants.
I'll give you one before we move on. I'm still intrigued by Wan'Dale Robinson. Last night was Wan'Dale Robinson's first game coming back after the injury. And again, nothing great. He was 4 for 21, but I did like that he got 5 targets. I like that they got him involved. And I've got to assume as the year goes on, maybe he'll start to get more of those Paris Campbell targets. And maybe we start to see him be a consistent 6 for 60 every week, which that's better than anything else we've seen so far.
Technically, yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. I just wonder, like, how many of these players are you actually going to be able to get excited about? I don't think
He's the only one. Like I could see his role being big enough that you could rely on him as like a wide receiver 3 in PPR leagues, but still, a lot has to happen for us to even get to that point.
Yeah, it's tough sledding here, navigating the different assets in this offense. And again, I think the best approach, if you are going to have to roll with any of these players, is don't watch the games.
Yeah, don't watch the games. Don't watch the games. It'll be
don't
just
do that to yourself.
Okay, let's talk about the other side of the ball, the 49ers, who continue to look absolutely amazing on offense. Is Brock Purdy still an underrated dynasty asset? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Gametime is the fastest and the easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their lowest price guaranteed, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you'll have. My favorite part of Gametime is that when you go onto the app, it shows you exactly what your seats look like, so you won't be surprised at all when you get there. And it'll show you the all-in price, including the fees and taxes. So again, you won't be surprised when you check out. Buy your tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. The tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to dig through your email to find them. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Just download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We also want to tell you about DoorDash. You guys know DoorDash. Are you missing your syrup for your pancakes in the morning? Or maybe you ran out of your favorite coffee creamer. Kate, you and I love coffee. This is both. We've had this before. You pour a nice cup of coffee. You don't have your creamer. It's so frustrating. With DoorDash grocery delivery, you can get what you want right when you need it. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver some of your restaurant favorite foods. And now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or they're going to make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries that's like you just picked out for yourself. If you want even more value, listen up. You can save on all of your grocery and restaurant favorites with a $0 delivery fee on all eligible orders with a Dash Pass membership with easy substitutions right in the app and best-in-class customer support. DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want it. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout. It's a limited time offer in terms of apply, but again, that's 50% off. Up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Don't forget, that is promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We want to let you know that football season is here. You guys obviously know that. And Locked On is kicking up our coverage with Locked On NFL Kickoff Live each Friday. Locked On will go live from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On NFL YouTube channel. Host Tanitra Batiste, Jarvis Davis, and Kyle Krabs will break down every game on the NFL slate to get you ready for your team's matchups, your fantasy lineups, your betting angles, and so much more. Plus, get in-depth local analysis from our stable of NFL hosts across the country who know these teams better than anyone else. Find Locked On NFL Kickoff live every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on any Locked On NFL YouTube channel. Okay, let's talk about the 49ers from this game. Brock Purdy, massive game, 25 of 37 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was one of the best games of his career. You and I were talking pre-show. I think he's a little bit underrated in Dynasty. Do you agree?
Well, I don't. I think we saw a fine game from Brock Purdy, right? 310 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Yet again, 2 passing touchdowns. That's like his favorite number.
Which is
0
good. I'm good with
interceptions.
that. You give me 300 yards and 2 passing touchdowns every week. I'm good.
That's fine. But you know what? The biggest, most glaring thing that continues to stand out on the stat sheet, -1 rushing yards. That is not good for
It's a lot of
fantasy.
kneel downs is what's going on here, Kate. Let's just
Yeah.
be on.
I'm just saying, but like any sort of rushing attack, he's not a mobile quarterback. And that paired with the fact that like I don't think he's going to pass for 37 attempts in every single game here. I thought he looked good but average in this game. I thought, there was, a lot of average. He looked average to me. And you know what, Marcus? Like that 310 passing yard game with 2 passing touchdowns amounted to 20 fantasy points. That's fine, but like I can find that on the waiver wire in most leagues. Like, obviously not in Dynasty, but like who cares?
Yeah.
My question is, who cares?
I care. And the reason I care is because I think he's going to be one of the most stable and consistent quarterbacks because of all the weapons he had. Like, didn't have Brandon Ayuk in this game and still threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I know getting Ayuk back doesn't mean that they're going to have big games every single week, but I love the stability here. And the longer that he continues to play well, and the more that the 49ers win, he still has not lost a regular season start in 8 starts, right?
Bizarre.
I just think, I just think that he's going to be the starting quarterback of the 49ers, and we know that produces fantasy points. Now, it might not have the ceiling of some of these other quarterbacks, but when I look at Dynasty League football and I see all the other quarterbacks that are ranked ahead of him, I just don't get it. Like Jared Goff, for example, and this ADP is a little out of date because it's before the year started, but Jared Goff at QB 19 or Brock Purdy at QB 23, I would much rather just have Brock Purdy.
See, I like Jared Goff there. I think the ceiling's higher.
But Goff isn't going to run either, right? So then it comes down to which team do you think is going to have the more consistent and the higher powered offense? And I just think it's going to be the 49ers.
I think that's fine. But I think we've already seen, at least when Jared Goff, excuse me, guys, I've been getting over a cold for about 30 years. So please bear with me as my throat does not always cooperate with me here. I think we've seen, though, like Jared Goff at home, his upside is top 5 quarterback. When have we seen upside for Brock Purdy be top 5 quarterback? I still
Yeah, but
think
hold
that
on. What's Jared Goff's upside as a road quarterback?
there is none, and that's where you
So
have to have.
you just can't play him then, right?
That's where you have the wherewithal as a fantasy manager, and you bench him for maybe his backup, Brock Purdy. Like
I
I'm just saying, I think, like, at least you have that top 5 ceiling with Jared Goff. That doesn't exist with Brock Purdy, and it doesn't even seem to matter how well he plays. Like, it doesn't matter what his lack of running, and I think the lack of ceiling as a passer.
I think especially in 2 quarterback leagues, he's somebody that I absolutely want as my QB2 because he's loaded on offense with playmakers. He's getting a lot of passing yards. The yards per attempt are way up, and they're just a threat to score a lot of touchdowns. And they've got some really easy matchups coming up. I actually think the Giants have a little bit of an underrated defense. They played the Steelers in week 1, who I think the Steelers defense is better than what they've showed so far. They've got some cupcake games coming up where I think he's going to put up a ton of points. I want him as my QB2 paired with, like I've got Lamar Jackson in a lot of leagues. Like I would love Brock Purdy as my QB2. And Frank, I'm going to try to make as many trades now before we get out of September, before I see his ADP rise way up, because I just think he's a good quarterback.
I think that's fair. I really do. Brock Purdy, I still think, for as much as you've seen from him, right? Like I still think we're probably going to see, like as much as you like his stat line in week 3, I still think we're going to come out and we're probably going to see, another, I don't know, like 10 quarterbacks ranked ahead of him.
Oh yeah.
One,
well, let's play a little game. Let's play a game
one
of
top 5 finish so far in his career.
Yeah, but how many top 10 finishes? I'm sure he has a ton though.
Let's see. I've got 1, 2, and this would be the 3rd regular season.
That's not bad. Out of what, 8 starts?
Out of 8 starts. It's just like mid. It's not like he's winning you weeks, Marcus.
All right.
It's mid.
Let's go through some quarterbacks.
Brock Purdy is mid for fantasy.
Oh,
I said it.
Out of here. Sam Howell or Brock Purdy?
Sam Howell.
No, I'll take Brock Purdy. Desmond Ridder or Brock Purdy?
I'll take Brock Purdy.
Kenny Pickett or Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy.
Okay. You already said you're on the Jared Goff side. Kyler Murray or Brock Purdy?
Kyler Murray.
I'll take Brock Purdy. Kirk Cousins or Brock Purdy?
Kirk Cousins.
That one's closer for me.
We're arguing about the overall QB1 for fantasy right now.
Yeah, I know. It's just that Kirk Cousins is 35. I would lean Kirk Cousins, but to me, that Kirk Cousins is being drafted as QB 17. That's probably at least where I'm having discussions. Going into the year, Brock Purdy was being drafted as QB 23. He's going to go higher than that. One last one: Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
Jordan Love.
I'll take Brock Purdy. So we just disagree on Brock Purdy. That's fine. We should mention some other players in this game. Christian McCaffrey, 18 for 85 and a touchdown on the ground, 5 for 34 as a receiver. He's RB1. I don't see that changing anytime soon. In Dynasty, Debo had a really good game, 6 for 129 in the receiving game with a touchdown. Also had 2 rushing yards. George Kittle, nice bounce back game from him, 7 for 90, no touchdowns, but it was kind of one of those, like, you start your studs and the 49ers offense is going to run through McCaffrey, Debo, and Kittle. So there wasn't a lot else for anybody else in this offense.
This is my takeaway from the game, honestly, like across the board. And I know it's the stupidest takeaway ever, but God, Christian McCaffrey is so freaking good. Like, he just looks like there was a moment he caught a ball out of the backfield, and I was watching him and I said, like, his acceleration and determination, like you literally saw fire blazing in his eyes as he was speeding down this. And I was just, there was just this moment of appreciation for Christian McCaffrey that like, I think we take for granted sometimes just how good he is and just expect that greatness. But like every now and then, kind of like, you know, when you're at your wedding, right? You want to take a step back and watch as the people you love do, you know, celebrate you and all that. That's what you should do for Christian McCaffrey every now and again. Just appreciate the greatness.
Let's do promotion commotion, our favorite segment of the week, next. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks and nerds, all you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the most fun that I've ever had playing daily fantasy sports. You can win up to 25 times your money. My favorite thing is all the different stats and players that are out there. You can even pick targets or tackles or interceptions or total yards. There's just so many different things to choose from. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use promo code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOn and use promo code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, it's everybody's favorite segment. It's promotion commotion. And before we even get started, Kate, we need to congratulate you on your call last week of Robert Woods. He had a fantastic game. Hopefully he helped some people win their fantasy matchups. So who do you have for us this week?
This is going to be a really ugly one, guys. I actually think that Baker Mayfield is like a really solid play this week. And so like if you were wondering like what quarterbacks would Kate have wanted to start over Brock Purdy this week? Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Bucks, and he's killing it, right? PFF passing grade of 81, ranks third best among quarterbacks. Really good, has been really good at protecting the ball. Mayfield is tied for the 6th most completions of 20 more air yards this season. He's dominating catches with Mike Evans. Now, like, I feel like there's this perception, and it's not without merit, that the Eagles defense is really, really good, and they are really, really good. But here's the thing. The secondary, though they are loaded with talent, they are banged up right now. And to this point, I know it's only through 2 weeks, but the Eagles have allowed the 2nd most passing yards and a league high 7 passing touchdowns to opposing offenses through 2 weeks. This could be like, if you have Baker Mayfield on your roster and you're not starting him in this matchup, you might as well drop him. Like, cake.
The other one I would say is Andy Dalton. Like if you're just scrambling for a quarterback, maybe you had Aaron Rodgers. I think Andy Dalton against Seattle is a pretty decent matchup. I think Andy Dalton's going to be pretty competent, but I agree. I would rather have Baker than Dalton this week. How gross do you want to be this week?
Very gross. Okay. Disgusting. Disgust me.
You really don't want to start Kyle Pitts in your fantasy leagues right now. You're probably still on the fence about starting Drake London. But how about the number 2 receiver in this offense, Mac Hollins? Who,
actually, he's the number 1 receiver, my man. He leads this team in passing yards.
Or in receiving yards. And honestly, I think this is a really good matchup for him. The Lions are they're pretty decimated at the cornerback position. He's going to have a massive size advantage over every cornerback that he plays this week. It's in Detroit. I think that's going to be a shootout. He's getting 5 targets per game. I won't be surprised if it's a 6 or 7 target game for him. And if you need somebody who's got a little bit of size and a little bit of upside here, I kind of like Mac Hollins with some touchdown upside.
Yeah, this actually feels like a really good week for promotion commotion. I feel like there's a lot of with the injuries, like you might have these guys stashed on your bench. How about another gross one? Craig Reynolds, Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's another one I had. Yep.
You've got David Montgomery, who still through 2 weeks was super, super involved, too involved, to the dismay of Jahmyr Gibbs managers. Now, after Montgomery left the game with an injury, a thigh injury, doesn't sound like he's good to go. I don't know if he's been officially ruled out yet, but I have no expectations of him playing. Reynolds and Gibbs actually played 10 snaps and 13 snaps respectively. So like Gibbs was not on the field for 100% of snaps once you saw David Montgomery go down with injury. Craig Reynolds received 3 carries to Gibbs's 1, and 100% of those carries on first and second down went to Craig Reynolds. I think that this team wants to have that sort of traditional first and second down back and use Jahmyr Gibbs as, primarily a receiver and, find other unique ways to get him the ball. But do not be surprised if Craig Reynolds has like 15 touches in this game. I would not at all.
Last one for me. I know you were excited about Calvin Austin last week, only 1 catch for 10 yards. This week, the matchup is just so much better. The Browns have some really good cornerbacks. He was going up against Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, 2 young, athletic corners. This week, it's Marcus Peters, who is 33 years old, who has lost all of his quick twitch ability. You're playing in a dome, and I think the Steelers are going to open up their offense a little bit more. And I think Kenny Pickett's just going to have more time to throw the ball. Still no Deontay Johnson. Allen Robinson playing in the slot. I think this is a game where the Steelers try to get Calvin Austin involved in the screen game. I think they're going to take some shots down the field. I think this is a really good post-type flex play against a defense I just don't think is very good.
That's a new term. I think that we're going to post-hype flex play.
Yeah, I like it.
I got one more that I
please.
want you guys to promote because the tight end position is gross. You don't want to play Kyle Pitts. I've got a different asset for you. This is the week to play Taysom Hill. Just FYI. Jamal Williams, with a hamstring injury. You've got Alvin Kamara, still suspended for another week. You might actually see Taysom Hill see a decent carry load. Last week saw 9 carries for 56 yards and a score. Once again, a cheat code for the tight end position. But I think if you have him on your bench, this is a week to play him.
All right, that is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty Football your first listen of the day. We post shows to YouTube every single day. Go check it out there. We are free and available on all platforms. Go follow Kate on Twitter at Kate Maggio. Go check out her work out at Pro Football Focus. I'm at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy week 3, and we'll be back on Monday to break it all down.